All right, let's have a chat. Let's have a chat about the Premier League title contenders. I mean, could they? Come on, the Forest. Unbelievable stuff from Nottingham Forest this season. Absolutely killing it. Just thought I'd have a casual chat with you guys about it because obviously, it's sort of halfway through the season now and you're never going to be able to totally answer it, but it's nice to check out some sort of like gut calls and kind of how you see it playing out. And I think it's been a really good Premier League season, really, really enjoyable Premier League season. So I think for me, in terms of like runners and riders, we've got to talk about that top three. I want to touch on Forest for a second just to say, wow, you're doing outrageously well. Don't stop now. And I think what's interesting is like how close can Forest get? I'm not saying they can win it. I'm not saying they're contenders. But what I am saying is this is the most complicated, high quality Premier League I think we've ever had. And I think that mixed with maybe it's a bit more glaring with the fact that Man City are struggling in the way that they are, and I think we know why they're struggling. For me, Rodri is a huge part of that. They look naked without him there, and you've got some other problems there along the way in terms of sort of several little mini decisions that have been incorrect when it comes to Pep. That means they can't get themselves out of this malaise right now. That means that they're 7th with a goal difference of +4. Is that right? That is wild. That's absolutely incredible. Think of those decisions. No, keep hold of Cole Palmer. Come on. Keep hold of Delap. Keep hold of Lavia. There's a lot of players that you could have done with that would have been of use. Obviously, like life's not like that. You make your decisions, but I think the age of that squad has obviously caught up with them a little bit, especially when you don't have someone like Rodri in the team to sort of help put out those fires and control and dictate and be the best player in the world, and that's why he was. And the rest of them are really, really struggling now. And so now 12 points, and that 12 points off top, and with Liverpool having a game in hand, I think we have to say goodbye to Manchester City, which is good. It's good for the league. I think it's good for the product to a point. Do you know what I mean? Just to know that it's like everything. Nothing lasts forever. I thought Neighbours was going to be big forever. No, I thought X Factor was going to be big forever. I thought Britain's Got Talent would never go away. Just hang in there. Things change, thank God. Nothing stays the same forever. So now we look at the league, and it is up for grabs. And I think we've got 3 very different contenders here in Liverpool, Chelsea, and Arsenal. And I'm going to have a little look through who scored. I thought was a good one because I think in terms of how it's gone, but how it could go are 2 different things. So obviously the bulk of you will support Liverpool, Arsenal, or Chelsea probably because you clicked on this video. But I'd be intrigued to know what's the one thing you're worried about the most, and what's the one thing that you think could really give you that chance of getting there. I've got to say that the first one I think that feels quite obvious for all of them is the fact that you've got to kind of keep your best team together. And so if we should we start with Arsenal? Let's start with Arsenal because I think that's the fair critique of them is they've been a bit, they've been systematic. Is that? I'm not even sure I totally believe in that. I think they've had a lot to deal with. Because I think when a team wins a league, you know what their best team is. And I think we know what Arsenal's best team is. They've not been able to kind of use it. And in terms of a back 4, it doesn't look like an outrageous amount of different players that have played in these games. But in terms of the same back 4, I'd love to know where, and maybe someone can tell me in the comments, how many times have you played the same back line? And what is your best back line? You could say it's up for debate in terms of Timber or Ben White. In terms of that right back, we know the centre-back partnership, Saliba and Gabriel. And I think, fortunately, both offensively and defensively, you've had those 2 players available most of the time. The goalkeeper being absolutely safe and sound, and there's no problems and qualms with him at all as well. I think that gives you a lot more, space to believe that you can be solid, and you are solid, aren't you? You're massive, and that's a huge use. And I think, look, you got to win. Winning the XG battle is something. It's real, and I think in a league like this, the reason why you don't discount Arsenal just yet is because I think in a game like this, you need to be winning that XG battle because the teams in this league are really good. Really, really good. Timber, what a signing he's been in terms of being able to play on both sides, left back and right back. Calafiori, not wholeheartedly seen the best of him just yet, like in terms of being really sort of in. And Zinchenko, I think they've kind of gone off him and they want to play like a different way. But I think he's still got a part to play in terms of allowing you to sort of run over teams that are maybe a little bit, lesser. Although, I mean, I can come back to the Premier League. Like, who are those lesser teams now? Do you know what I mean? Like Man United. Maybe one of them. Obviously, the size of the club that it's not going to allow for that kind of behaviour long term. Ipswich, Southampton, Wolves, Leicester. Maybe those teams that you should just be able to kind of have your way with. Everton are very difficult these days. West Ham are starting to figure themselves out. So there's not 10 teams that you go, well, we'll beat them and we just got to worry about the rest. You've got to be at it every single game. And one thing that is good in terms of having it in your favour, in terms of that battle, is XG. Are you going to win the set piece battle? Like, are you going to win the set piece XG battle? Yeah, I think if you win that and you're Arsenal, with the great players that they've got, you're giving yourself a really, really good chance. The other thing as well, some of the sendings off have obviously been a bit of a problem for them. This man here, I think, is absolutely everything to this team in terms of Martin Odegaard, because that's the other thing I think I want to touch on the two other contenders for me, which are Chelsea and Liverpool, is what if you lose that guy? Because I think that was the truth here, more than anything else in terms of the struggles. Okay, game state, sendings off, fine. But not having Odegaard, huge, just absolutely enormous in terms of him knitting it together, because this team knows how it plays. The changes from an offensive point of view aren't going to change that much, which also then puts probably a lot of pressure on Bukayo Saka on that position there. Like at the time of recording, don't know how bad the injury is. You hope that he's going to be fine. I saw this stat about, I think he's 23 or 22, whatever he is now. He's so young still, and I think he's played something like 30,000 minutes or something ridiculous. And Cole Palmer's played 11,000. Like that speaks volumes to me in terms of the pressure on him. And when you got Champions League, cups, the league as well, and every league game is as intense and as difficult as it is, I think that makes life very, very hard. And I think in these wide areas, when we're going to look at all three squads here, you've got to be able to, I think you've got to have 4 really good centre midfielders that you can kind of mix and match a little bit to get you through the games. And then out wide, you need some real good options off the bench. I think Jesus, obviously, again, at the time of recording, in a good space in terms of getting some goals against Crystal Palace. Hopefully that continues. And then it's almost like you've got a new player there then, because he's just been so poor for so long, or unable to score at least. Trossard, neat, tidy, good. Yeah. Martinelli, starting to find his form again. I think this is the thing with Arsenal, I think it's a bit of a confidence game as much as anything else. But the depth in this squad, I think defensively, there's depth in terms of the ability to play different positions. Kind of offensively, if you lose one or two, like you have done, the sort of Sterling coming in's not looked at it at all. As you can see from his average score, from who scored. Martinelli's just not totally been right, so that needs to be kind of found. And you need that initial form from that year when he kind of burst on the scene and scored all those goals. So I think there's a lot of question marks over Arsenal, but they will keep on grinding. And I think the sort of underdog tag might be something that they enjoy and will energise them. Will kind of be able to kind of keep them going. But Saka, so crucial when you look at the kind of stats of the team as well. 10 assists, scoring goals as well, 5 goals for the team as well. Absolutely crucial for them. So from an offensive point of view, I am concerned of are there enough goals and options aside from, in open play when you've got to be able to break them down. Who knows? But they have got so many assets that are going to keep them going. Chelsea. In terms of knowing what their starting 11 is, I think what's great here is when I click here, there's one formation. Clarity. Absolute clarity with this Chelsea team. Okay, different players. So if we look around, you could see centre-back position. And I think this is always a good one to kind of go, how many different players have you tried to find the answer to problems that you're having? In the centre-back position, there's been quite a bit of rotation there with different players. I'm not totally sure about who. I think in a perfect world, they want Cole and Wesley Fofana on the right-hand side, but obviously there's been injury problems along the way. Gusto's been a great player, an asset in terms of being able to play in different positions. Reece James, struggling to kind of rely on him. Cucurella, absolutely reborn this year. And we did a video talking about players that had like a glow up, and Cucurella was certainly on that list. Is that is that a back line that wins the league? I think that's one of the questions. The goalkeeper position. It's out and out Sanchez at the moment. Is he actually the answer? Do you need to get a goalkeeper to get yourself over the line? Is he going to cost you? I think with Raya, Becker, Kelleher, you're sorted, aren't you? You're not worried about that position. But in terms of like technical talent, overall talent, and ability to create chances in the system that they play, I think you've got a really good team here. Are they going to switch off? Is the concentration going to go for a second? Is that where you're going to kind of lose your way, Chelsea? Still a young squad. I think that means that those players then sort of put a bit more value in themselves instead of hiding in the shadows a little bit as a young player. So I think that's a good thing. And out wide, in terms of different players, if you put Arsenal up against Chelsea, I think what you do like in Chelsea's favour is you can put Sancho on, Neto on, João Felix, although he's hot and cold, we know that. Cole Palmer and Enzo Fernandez. Cole Palmer, obviously, such a live wire for the team. As good as anyone in the league this year in terms of if you're picking teams, I think Cole Palmer's right up there. I would love to know that, actually. Like, if you're picking teams out of these three, that's who's your first pick? I think Cole Palmer and Saka is a debate for another time, but he's obviously a phenomenal player and he's in incredible form this year, and that's why he's played 16 games. Caicedo and working the money in that midfield and then finding a way to get it to work with Caicedo, with Fernandez, with Lavia, having all of them playing in the same team, getting your best players in the team and making it work. Maresca's done a fantastic job. And in Jackson, I think you've got a really, really good player. My gut feeling on this group is that, bit like Arsenal, is that there may be some tensing up that happens later in the season. Maybe some chances get missed. But in terms of being able to kind of swap in and swap out with a lot of players that are actually young but have played a lot of football and actually probably got that young mindset where they're just absolutely unafraid, don't sleep on Chelsea. I think when that real tense spotlight comes in, that's where I'm intrigued about this group. And it does feel a year early, doesn't it? But what an opportunity when Man City are completely out of it. Arsenal not on the points tally that they probably wanted to be on, and Liverpool's still in sight. I mean, huge growth for Chelsea. I think you have to put them in there as title contenders. You have to, because they're there and they're knocking about. You would imagine they would gently run out of steam and fall away. Maybe that little bit lightweight in terms of the experience, and they need to go through the sort of couple of losses. A bit like in basketball, you'll have those NBA teams that they're good but not good enough. And then they are good enough, but they're not ready. And then they're ready. I think Chelsea might be a year off that. And look, Liverpool are in the driving seat right now. You would imagine Liverpool should be winning it. But that in itself brings the problems. Like, can they deal with that pressure? Can Arne Slot and his team deal with that pressure? You would imagine so, but this is football. Like, absolutely anything can happen. I think it's okay to be excited as a Liverpool fan right now, because what I really, really like, and I've just done a video talking about the energy of this Liverpool team and gone through the 6 goals that they scored against Tottenham, is the age of the group. I think the age of the group's great. And I was thinking, in terms of, say, like the front 6, Gravenberch, 24, McAllister, pretty young, I'm sure. It's certainly sort of mid-20s, 25, let's say. Szoboszlai, I think, 27, and, absolutely at the peak of his physical abilities. Diaz, around that age as well. Just, not boys, men, but like got every bit of energy that you need from them. And it's a good example of it. Like Robertson, I think Robertson's lost it feels like he's losing a little bit of certainly like the out and out burst that he had before. But if you imagine him, remember when he was 28, like that's what you've got with the rest of them. So in terms of in transition being able to break, and then a coach that will go long sometimes because you got Salah, why not? Or play because you've got Gravenberch and McAllister, or switch the ball because you've got Trent. Like having those different ways of doing it, or cross the ball in because you've got Robertson and Trent. Do it and flood the box. It's that mix of that I think is really, really strong, and the lack of goals that they're conceding. You've got a quality goalkeeper in Becker, obviously, as well. If we have a look at their squad list, in terms of the changes they've had, they have had to deal with things, but this is where I think the experience of the group is good. Yes, concerns I think over in the left back position, maybe an area they want to strengthen in January. Centre back, I think Gomez doing enough of a job. I think their control of games is so strong though that it gives them that allows them to kind of deal with that. And Van Dijk just marshalling it. I think he's having such a great season for the team. Bradley can come in and show that energy, which is great. And yeah, look at that back line. The experience in that group over the last few years is huge. A backup goalkeeper in Kelleher, that's a joke. And the midfield, we talk about maybe like four, got 4 or 5 sort of battling out for 3 positions, maybe. Gravenberch, McAllister, Jones, Szoboszlai, maybe put in that mix if you need to. Harvey Elliott, you can put into that mix as well. Probably a few others I've not even thought about because they're just not really part of it at the moment. But you can kind of really see the structure of where they play. But you've got real competition. Gakpo's got a chance. Diaz has got a chance. And in terms of the flow of the team, Gakpo and Salah, 2 kind of wide strikers, and they're playing in those wide striker roles. Diaz doing a bit of a job as a forward, but if you need your out-and-out forward, you've got Darwin Núñez. If you want someone who's a bit clever and cute with it as well, as a sub or as a starter, Jota as well. So, and again, all these guys have gone through title challenges, which is good, I think. Champions League runs as well. But I think the age of the team is good. And we talk about the physicality of the front guys. Salah as well. Yes, okay, he's 32, but you don't think of him as that. Like, he's a bully. He's an absolute bully. And he has gone to this new level of refinement that I think they've exploited so well in terms of the way that Arne Slot wants to play. I think the one thing here is, look at the the need for Salah. They are so reliant on Salah on that right-hand side. So if someone injures him, if he gets injured, sorry, I didn't mean to say it that way, that's a problem. I think Gravenberch, when you look at the top minutes that you've seen from the players this year, that 3, Salah, Van Dijk, and Gravenberch, lose any of those 3, I think you're concerned. I think you can get away with Bradley over Alexander-Arnold, although he does offer up that little bit of magic to get you to win a game. Robertson, you got Tsimikas, so again, maybe there's problems there. See, this is maybe the thing that you can say is that anything can happen because all of these lads have been able to stay fit. Now, they have had injuries, they have, but it's not been those guys. And that's maybe the difference this year for an Arsenal, where Odegaard's been out and Saka's been out. Those are just enormous, enormous players for you to be losing. So between now and the end, of course, you don't know what's going to happen. But I think from an attacking point of view, that's pretty nice for Liverpool. I think the way that they play in terms of the control, but also being able to get the balls in behind, but also attack in transition at times, I think they're looking really, really strong. But who knows what's going to happen. Let me know, what's the big thing that you're feeling confident about with your team, and what's the one thing you're nervous about? Let me know.